Welcome to the Medtech Open Office, the place to be for Medtech experts. I will now introduce you to your hosts, Munir El Azouzi and Adam Isaacs Ray. Enjoy.
Hello.
Welcome to the Medtech Open Office. Hi Adam, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm back. Sorry about last week. The reception and I was kind of like, I think I can do this. And then we were on the Isle of Skye, which is really quite north in Scotland, and there's just no chance. I was just like, this is not going to happen. So I'm back to normal. I got back last week, so I'm good. I'm just trying to get back to my life. You know, we had family visiting, so it was very nice, but I'm ready to get back to it, you know. So, but sorry everyone about last week or whoever, you know. I was just like, it was the last minute.
No problem. So let's make it this week, and I hope people will be also enjoying this session. So let's maybe have this session started in a few seconds. Before, if you are listening to us from anywhere in the world, so please say hi and just let us know where you are listening us from, so that we can identify the map of
yes.
listeners. So we are looking at this bandwidth of listeners. Where are they coming from, and the east and the west, etc. So mainly
where we need to know where to talk about, because I really see that, you know, I sometimes can be very EU, very UK centric, you know. Okay. So it's good to know where people are from, so we can speak about more things maybe that are more particular for where they are dealing with, you know. Like,
exactly. So don't hesitate to go on the chat and just say hi and where you are from, just for us, and mainly we can have I hope today a great discussion. So today I prepared some topics for the introduction of this episode, and then at the end we have still the usual question and answers. If you have any questions, you can already place them on the chat, and then we can select them for later, or take them for later. So don't hesitate. And question about everything. So it's putting us on the spot, because we are not aware at all of your questions. So maybe sometimes we can say, I don't know. So it's also
definitely.
Most likely we'll try to answer a question. So don't hesitate also to place that on the show notes. Okay, so we already have some answers. We have Gita Patel from London. We have Debbie Gallagher from Scotland. Martin Coles from Coimbatore, India. Okay. Hey Martin, so thank you for that. Mainly the first topic that I wanted to introduce today is talking about Udemy. So mainly, as you know, we discussed about that before. So Udemy is now not optional anymore. It's mandatory since the 28th of May 2026. Which means mainly that you have to use it for any product that you are trying to place on the market as of this date. So I wanted to get maybe some feedback from people about that. Is it easy now to register data on Udemy? Is it okay for everybody? And also there is another question, but before to answer this question, before to move to another question, Adam, for you, do you have any feedback about maybe some users, some people that are contacting you, or heard anything about Udemy for the moment?
I've seen from within, I suppose, the conformity assessment side of things, the role that Udemy plays in that side of things. I've seen, I from what I've seen anyway, I think the mandatory registration on Udemy now will reduce the amount of non-conformances that people pick up in audit findings, because a lot of the time people will, when you apply to a notified body, you should already have a single registration number, authorized rep, DOC drafted, everything done. But there are an awful lot of instances where many manufacturers will apply to a notified body, and they won't have that registration done for Udemy, and then they will get a finding for it. So at the moment, it's only been a month, not heard that much noise about it personally. But from the other side of it, on the notified body front, I believe this change will make the conformity assessment process a bit easier for manufacturers now, because they should all just be registered in Udemy. There's no reason to not do it anymore. Like that timeline was an excuse for a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do that later. Don't worry. Yeah. No, there is no more later. It's now.
Yeah.
And mainly, it's something that people have to understand, that you cannot. I mean, you can, if you want to make it non-compliant, but you cannot normally place devices on the market without registering that on Udemy. So first you register and then you place it on the market. But I'm sure some people will place it on the market before registration on Udemy. And as I said, I don't think anything will happen, because nobody will really pick that up. But only a notified body can maybe raise some non-conformities because of that. They will see when you place the device on the market and when it was registered. And maybe it will be like, oh, you haven't followed the rules. But apart from that, I don't think there is any other danger.
Yeah.
So it's in terms of Udemy, the question that I had mainly for everybody here is also, who at your company is owning Udemy data, Udemy information, Udemy regulatory operation also, because just curious to know, is it quality, is it IT, is it R&D, is it somebody else? So if we can have maybe some feedback from your side about who is owning that, because it's really interesting to know what are the practice of the different companies related to that.
Yeah.
And who is then having the keys, or if I can say the entries to this Udemy, and who to blame if there is a mistake on it, etc. So there are a lot of things here. But as you said, Adam, I think one thing that is important is that this should become now a natural operation, that each time you have a new device, to have a procedure maybe with the checklist saying you do this and then you register a new domain, and then you can do all the other activities to sell the device on the market also. So it should be something that is really important here.
Yeah.
Okay. So
in terms, if it helps on that, Munir, just before we go too much further on, I think Debbie said there from just the RA, I've mostly seen the Udemy maintenance role kind of been either totally within the QA function or totally away from the QA function in IT, and so I've seen a little bit of both on kind of some companies doing it, like Debbie said, owned by regulatory, but then I've also seen companies where it sat completely outside of regulatory. And regulatory just have a kind of, an agreement with the IT team that they manage it basically, but that also creates a lot of difficulties because obviously Article 31.5 talks around maintaining that actor registration information, device information, no less than 1 year, 2 years. So the maintenance of it is something we need to think about as an industry, how this works now, going forward.
Because there was also one suggestion is also supply chain. Is it something that supply chain should take care, because there is the UDI code, there is the information about how many devices on each things, etc. So this is something that I think is not universal. It will be on a case by case for each person or each company. But I think this question should be answered for everyone. Who is really owning those data? Who is in charge? Who is as said, to be blamed if there is an issue? So maybe.
Well, the blame answer is obviously quality. Before we go into it, they regardless of, it's the thankless job. When audits go well, that's the way it should be. When audits go horribly, it's QA.
Exactly. But another question maybe also related to UDAMED. So do you think now UDAMED should also be included inside the management review, like a KPI to review that everything is fine, or that we have made the registration, how many registration we have made, how many maintenance we have made, etc. So is this like a data that maybe we should include in UDAMED in the management review now? So what do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I think with the big thing that one of the big things that MDR introduced was the requirement for the strategy for regulatory compliance. So within that strategy for regulatory compliance should drive the creation of something for UDAMED, something for UDAMED, and that could be a procedure or a plan. Plans obviously live and they evolve and they get made obsolete. So that I'd say either within the management review there should be an input for that consideration, or a standalone standalone mechanism within the QMS that confirms the accuracy of the data that's within UDAMED. Because I think that we've got it here. It's Article 5 and Article 31, Section 4, which is if you change anything within 1 week, you need to update it. Exactly. And that becomes quite a thing. Like that's quite a thing to organize. Internally, because then it's going out to your competent authority when you're making these changes. So I'd really recommend having a documented procedure for the management of UDAMED with like an owner, and that owner needs to report to your PRRC in a sense, kind of thing, or that the PRRC will probably end up doing that. But
exactly, because I said I think the data that you are placing there are public, so you have also to have a process on how to validate those data before to push the button register. We had, for example, an example of a customer, somebody that talked to me and asked me, I put the data on UDAMED, but I was making a mistake on the number of units inside the pack. It was 5 or 7, and I put 7 when it was 5. And then they push go. And when they asked about that to UDAMED, they said, no, you cannot make an update. You have to issue a new UDI code to do this, which is a nightmare, because then if you issue a new UDI code, it's also issuing new packaging, new things, etc. So just this small mistake can make your life a bit, in a bad situation. So having a process where you have somebody creating the data, somebody reviewing and approving the data, and somebody placing it on the UDAMED, and then maybe a 4 eyes principle to review before you push, can be something that is really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think with that money, sorry, just before we finish on that, I think it's interesting. One thing that I noticed that industry we don't really do enough of, I think, at the moment is we don't talk about why UDAMED is in existence. I think people look at it and they say, I need to register and all this sort of stuff, and it's like I understand, but if we actually look at why UDAMED needs to be there and why it's there and what it's trying to do, when you think about that, it makes sense as to why all of the actor information, device information, vigilance information has these requirements about being up to date, because it's what the commission and what the competent authorities and then notified bodies will access to monitor the market of medical devices in the EU. It's really important, So I don't know about you, Munir, but I just see it from clients and the industry, we don't see a lot of talk around why Udamed is so important now. It's really became this thing we need to do. We need to tick the box and register on Udamed, whereas it's actually, if we think about why, it might make it easier to do that.
I mean, it's looking like administrative, but yes, I mean, I have a lot of questions of people also. I mean, before we had a lot of questions of people saying, can we, even for outside of manufacturers, but for other operators that say, can you confirm to me that this product is approved or CE marked? Before Udamed, I couldn't do that. Before Udamed, I have no clue if it's CE marked or not. But now with Udamed, we know that we just search for the company and do that. It's the same as what we are doing with the US. When we want to verify if the product is registered in the US, we go to the US database, and it was easy to find, etc. So it's why it's really important here. But it's also important for your company to verify that everything is clear and working also, because we have people that are moving out and in for the company, and when they want to see the source of truth, so it's Udamed. So this is mainly the source where all the data will be registered, and you should have them correctly also.
I can give an easy finding if there's any auditors. One easy finding is when you're doing an assessment, you check the PRRC and then you check Udamed to see if that matches.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you will be.
We have done that before also, because as you mentioned, you have the 1 week period. As soon as there's something changed, you have 1 week to change it on Udamed also. So it's that is important.
Yeah.
Here from Debbie also, does it depend on how big the manufacturer is? For example, how many devices? I suppose you talk about who is responsible for Udamed on this. I suppose yes. I mean, because for a small company, I suppose yes, it's quality or regulatory affairs that will take care of that. It's not that, but for a big company, it can be split maybe between the different people. I suppose when we will have all the modules available, maybe a certain group will be taking care of vigilance reporting, a certain group about investigation, etc. So it depends mainly the size of the company. But smaller you are, more it will be focused for QA, and bigger you are, more it will be maybe split between different companies.
I'd say I totally agree. The only thing that doesn't depend on how big the manufacturer is the timelines in which the accuracy must be confirmed. The regulation is pretty much everyone obviously just has the same requirements. So if you're a big manufacturer or a smaller manufacturer, if you change something in your organization that's pertinent to that Udamed data, doesn't matter. It needs to be within a week.
Yeah. Okay. Next topic I wanted to bring here is well-established technologies. I think you heard all now that we had an update of the well-established technologies list. We had 2 delegated acts that were issued for class 3 and for class 2B implantables also. So I wanted to check mainly with you also, or with one that are listening here. So if this is something that will help you, I reviewed the list. So it's additional, really more additional products. So it's more than before. So it's really, really interesting. Now it's more about, is this something that will really help you to reduce your burden in terms of clinical data, clinical evidence, clinical things, or is this not helping because maybe you still have to go through this whole process because you have to get your clinical data for that. One of the questions is more about when we talk about well-established technologies. I suppose it's well-established means also that we have a lot of literatures about it. We have a lot of information, so there is no need anymore to look at that. So I suppose when it's well-established, you don't have to do this work again of searching for all the literatures and working on that. But I'm now more asking, will people just rely on well-established technology and say, my device is well-established, so I don't need to do anything more? Or it's well-established, but I still have to look at some literatures and do some work, etc. So I don't know. Adam, what do you think about that?
So, I mean, I'm just looking at the list here, because the list obviously before, the list is quite a bit larger.
Bigger? Yeah, it's larger than the previous list. So it's...
So there's obviously broken into class 2B implantables and then class 3s. So I mean, I think this is the kind of what we've been seeing in Europe, since the targeted evaluation last year, around this is in line, it's consistent with what we know is trying to happen, which is simplifying things, making things a bit easier.
Exactly, yeah.
Whether there are so many devices, these devices that they've kind of now expanded this to cover. Whether there are enough of them in the market that we're having that much difficulty is, I think one thing, which you would assume there is a level of, the commission have extended that list for a reason and to included these other ones. So I think that's good. I still think we are still lacking a bit of an approach of I still don't think it's going to change organizations struggling with equivalence, to be honest.
Exactly.
I think the well-established technologies list is good. Yep, love it. But I still know that loads of companies are still going to struggle with trying to substantiate equivalence claims and generating clinical data for the device under evaluation. That's the main thing, I think. That's
so I think one danger here is that, if it's on the list, then I don't have anything to do. Here, I think you still have to justify that, yes, your product is equivalent to the product on the list. I don't think just a name is sufficient. Then my product is whatever. I mean, the point is that my product is, I name it on the same as what is on the list, then I'm fine. I can because you can have this trick of people saying, I will name it on the same, with the same vocabulary, exactly the same as what is on the list, and then it's fine. So no, you have still to justify scientifically that your device is truly belonging to that technology, why mainly we can verify this, etc., and convince a notified body that yes, it's a well-established technology because of that. So it's mainly that you have this MDCG guidance also that is mainly explaining well-established technologies, but you have to still justify why you think your product is well-established technologies, and not just use the fact that it's called the same name as what is on the list. No, but tell me why this is the same as the one on the list also. So it's also something that is really important.
It still will not remove the need for organizations to conduct that SOTA assessment. Essentially, they still will need to do that, and still, like you said, Maria, like the name, whatever they say that intended purpose does for that device, they will need to correspond that to the well-established technology list. But then also they're going to have to correspond that with SOTA and show that
exactly.
And this is difficult when you start thinking about equivalence in clinical data. When you've got well-established technology, because if it's the same as everywhere else, if it's the same device as everything else, and it doesn't offer any, say, newer clinical benefit, then does it fall into that list in the first place? Kind of thing. It's like so. I think that's still. I think well-established technology and Article 61, Section 10, to me, are the red herrings of MDR, because they are the things that people grab, like non-clinical data. They grab these things and they kind of hope for a shortcut. And they very, very, very rarely do offer an actual shortcut.
It's a path that you have to go carefully, but also you have to provide a lot of justification before you can mainly go through those paths. So it's why I'm saying, don't assume that because your device is well-established technology, or that mainly you have some clinical, no clinical data, but you want to use the 6110, mainly Article 6110, that it's sufficient just to claim it and to say it. No, you have also to justify it and to explain that. But let's see if you I will see maybe with some customers that will be helping, that if they are using well-established technology, I will see maybe what they are working on that. But it's a good news, I said, because I think, as you mentioned, the European Commission is trying to reduce the administrative burden on manufacturers. So this is one way of doing that also, which is
I think this is one of these things where a lot of these devices, Monia, like I've dealt with a few of them a few years ago. Like really, all of the things that were in there, like sutures and stuff and bone implant, that I've done in the past. But now, for me, I think the list they've got is quite good, because there's nothing there that you're seeing is going to be evolving that much right now in medicine. Where we're really, like, what the things that are the state of the art of medicine in general right now, I suppose, has changed around software devices and artificial intelligence devices within clinical pathways. Whereas a lot of these devices, I think it's fine if we accept stable market history, leave them in the past, and let them do their thing in healthcare, and that's it. We don't need to pull loads of devices that have a stable market history off the market,
So for people that are listening, so in the audience, tell us, do you think well-established technologies this decision is good, and if it will help you or not at all, or you don't, it has no consequence. So.
Yeah, if anyone has kind of used the well-established technology route through the notified body,
there is some tricks. Yeah, if there is some tricks or some things to look at, so it will be also a great thing.
Because it's never worked when anything I've worked on, it's never worked. Too novel.
I had a question, because now looking at all those information, all those data and everything, so I was questioning myself. So is quality and regulatory affairs becoming a data profession? So are we now collecting data, storing data, being sure that data are well protected, if I can say, that we are using them on UDAMED, on GUDID, on Swiss DAMED now also for Switzerland, on MHRA database, we are starting to have more and more data to manage from our side. The UDI code, we have to store it somewhere that we can use it, the basic UDI, the master UDI.
Yeah.
We start to have all those numbers and all those things to think. And even when we are working with some KPIs, we are using some digital tools like maybe Power BI, we are using XML, AI. We are start to use a lot of things like that. So now the question is more about if QA should be becoming more digital, so than regulatory. So mainly, is it the evolution of QA to go more in the digital world, and then also be the owner of data and the one that is having the key for all the data?
It's interesting. It's a good question. I think there's an element of QA and RA professionals have to evolve more to be more kind of, I say maybe more data driven, or I'd say the if you operate a quality system, I would say they've always been data driven by the requirements of the quality system. Quality system requires statistical analysis and analysis of data and stuff like that. Regulatory side, on that side, I'd say yes, we would also do the same. I think the main thing that's changed, I think, is that the amount of stuff that has to be kept on top of has made a lot of manual QMSs. Maybe this is a plug for Smart Eye Munir. But I see a lot of eQMSs now, but you see a lot of paper system QMSs still. And I think we're getting to a stage in industry where there is only so much that a paper system can do. I think some eQMSs also maybe do too much for what people are looking for. But we're really approaching a point where there's so much to cover and think about for a device that one regulatory person or one QA person. I don't think the traditional QA person that we maybe came into industry, I don't think that role is there anymore. I think that's kind of changed. I think like the document controller / quality manager, they're not there anymore. They're different roles now. It's totally changed.
So so this is mainly an idea for people listening that you have to move your career maybe to that way, and owning the data. You will be the king of the data, so it will be really something that can.
I think we spoke about it with the last Medtech Open Office with kind of AI around, around people. Obviously, society has views on artificial or machine learning, but from the perspective of we all need to learn to live with it a little bit. So, like everyone, before on your job applications, it would say you must be proficient with Microsoft Word or with Excel.
The Office suite. The Office suite.
I remember looking at that and thinking, who is not?
Who is not exactly?
Who is not? But then now, a new version of that is probably going to be what must be proficient with Claude or something like that. That's heading to a new normal. So I think it's a similar type of conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. No. I think it's something that we have to see on the CVs. Like, do you have experience with Claude, with what's the name? ChatGPT, with
Gemini. Because obviously we were having a chat recently, Munir, around some work that we're working on, and I was kind of letting you know about some that I feel like I'm spending an awful lot of my time reviewing work that has been generated by poorly instructed AI, and it's making things quite difficult from that side of things. So everyone's using AI to generate stuff, and it's getting sent to us, and we're looking at it saying, who is
As said, I think if the person doesn't know how to use AI, they will generate crappy document. But if they know how to use AI with the right prompt, the right information, the right source, the right inputs, then they can generate a document that is nearly perfect. But without that, if they don't know if they are not knowing what they have to generate as input for the AI will create something, but it's not the fault of the AI; it's the fault of the person. So if you have maybe also some idea here about another kind of data or other information that quality should also own to become, as I said, the master of data for their company, it could be interesting to discuss, because we have also the data about KPIs for the company. We have the data about employees, also information with training. We have the data. I mean, we have a lot of data that are generated and that are owned by QA. So it's why it's really important that that it is.
One thing that the periodic safety update reports require is usage data. That has got to be the richest data that a business has, is the usage data of your device. That is really, so I think that's an example of, if you have a software device and you're trying to understand usage, that is massive. And that now will kind of fall, I imagine, between IT, QARA, don't know. So I think you're kind of looking at this blended department, and the lines grow even blurrier with SAMD and AI devices, because often, from what I've seen, Monier, I often help work with some companies, and there is no quality team, and it's just developers.
Exactly.
And I'm there, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is how we're doing this, So it's totally different.
Great. Okay. Next, I wanted to bring. So today I have also released one podcast episode with Easy Medical Device, and this is mainly the subject of the myth of this month, which is mainly the subject where we say mainly if we pass the audit, notified body audit mainly, so everything is compliant. So mainly there is this assumptions also from management, not only for people but from management, that we passed the audit, so everything is fine, the company is okay, no need to invest on anymore anything, etc., because we passed the audit, zero findings, so it's everything fine. So people think that everything is okay. So I had this podcast episode today talking about that, but mainly you are also an auditor, Adam. So what do you think about these assumptions here?
So I would probably change the word assumption for illusion.
Illusion.
The illusion of everything is fine because we've had an audit with zero findings. So, I mean, I done some assessments last year, and I went in, and I was on the opening meeting. I was greeted with this message, and they done the presentation and showed we had a notified body audit last month. So basically saying to me, you might as well go home because we had no findings, and I was like, right, okay, that's fine. I said, that's okay, that's fine. But in terms of every opening meeting, and Martin, if Martin's still in here, Martin knows this because Martin's been a big part of my auditing career. Every opening meeting you say, this is a sample.
Exactly.
There may be non-conformities that I detect that have not been detected previously, and there may be the non-conformities that I do not detect that may be detected in the future. That's the
snapshot. It's a snapshot of today, of now, etc. What I'm saying usually is that what we are evaluating during this audit is your ability to prepare for an audit. It's mainly that. It's not to verify that your quality management system is the greatest quality management system ever. It's not to say you prepare for the audit, because I mean you all know about this situation. Your quality manager calls you and say, we have an audit in 3 weeks from now. Then everybody moves everything. We clean the desks. We sign the documents that we are missing. We go to the shop floor and we clean everything there. There is nothing that is moving, etc. So and after the audit, we come back to the normal situation, because it's the big cleaning before the audit, and after it's like a mess again as usual. So this is the thing that we have really to be careful, because it's not preventing you to have complaints, not preventing you to have recall, not preventing you to have everything in the back, because of a lot of things. So again, listen to this podcast that we had, that I had also discussed, because I mentioned also a lot of things related to what is hidden behind all that. For example, the fact that people are not sharing with you information, not sharing with you issues that sometimes you discover during an audit, and but your team knows about that. So these are the things that can create problems, and you have really to be careful. So this is the myth of this month mainly.
And they're cultural issues, aren't they, as well, Monia?
Exactly. I discussed also about that cultural issues also. Yeah.
This is cultural, So it's this, and it's one thing that I'm always very conscious of when I'm doing assessments, because, like we say, kind of the joke we always make: QARA get the blame. That's the joke. But a lot of the time, people's bonuses are tied to not having any findings.
Exactly, which makes no sense.
Which I completely disagree with. I think that is, and that also, as an auditor, that also puts you in a bit of, you need to have your values, and you need to have your morals that you stand with there, because even if that person might not get the bonus, if you found a non-conformance, you need to raise it. It doesn't matter.
Just to joke though, you had somebody telling you, "Oh, don't make me a non-conformance, or I will not have my bonus."
I've seen it in the past where it's been tied to people's objectives. Yeah.
But they tell you, no, don't put it.
Really? Try not to raise it. Yeah. It's like, no, we're not doing this. But that's a big cultural problem. This wasn't this was kind of not within the UK. So different culture. It was in a country that had a very different culture to the UK in that sense, but still tied to performance. But I do not agree with it being tied to people's individual, like, to have the whole performance of a quality system or device portfolio tied to one person's bonus that has a very limited role with it. It's just not right, So,
no, it's exactly that. So it's I don't think it's really a great solution here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have maybe to go through some questions.
Yes.
I see Punet Kumar from Banaras, India. Hi, Punet. Vladimir from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
Hi to Advegazala also, Sheikh. So Martin also says yes.
He agrees. He agrees. He knows he taught me a lot, Martin. He's
exactly. Yeah.
He's a big part.
So first question from Debbie. Didn't have time to read it, so let's read that together. I have a question regarding a hospital in Latin America that was not following our reprocessing instruction, using too low a temperature for reusable instruments. Would you report this to the relevant competent authority? I think you have to be careful here also. I don't know for this case, but I know that you have also some laws in some countries about the way to reprocess some products. For example, sometime in Europe, it's not the same as in the US. So it's also your obligation to verify what are the rules in the country, mainly for that. But yeah, for me, I don't know if you have to. Do you think you have to report that? Because mainly, it's not. Yeah. It's not that there was an issue out of it. It's not like there was anybody armed for the moment. But do you need to report something that you may have heard without any incident at the end? So is this something that I don't know for that? Yeah.
So I suppose this would be interesting to find out, Debbie, how you know about this.
Exactly.
I think it's something that would fall to me. This is something that I would start to think. My brain starts to think of off-label use here. In terms of, if you have released that device already, so from a manufacturer's perspective, the device is released. It's like out of our facility, we've released it in line with our procedures. Once it's in the hands of the clinicians, clinicians can really, really, really do what they want.
It's off-label. They can do off-label. They can
do whatever they want. They can use an insufflation device to suck up fluids during cardiac surgery if they want. That is kind of how. And so I think for me, it would be difficult for an organization, to detect that. First of all, if they do detect it, then I'm not sure if you have an obligation to report that to the competent authority unless you had real reason to know that it was legitimate. They were reprocessing it. and that they were doing it knowing that it may put patients at risk. If it's not up to that, then I would really struggle to take it away out of the hands of the clinician, not being at the front.
Maybe one thing that can be thought about is to test the device for these parameters, these low parameters also. If you want, mainly, if you want to satisfy them also, if you want to avoid risks also, and to then make it acceptable, maybe it can be one of the solutions. But also the question here is to ask this hospital is, why are they doing that? Why are they not following their instruction? What is the reason for that? Because it's strange also. Is it like for money reason, like economy of some, because of the cost of energy or whatever? What is exactly the reason for this low temperature? But normally you are writing on your instruction for use how you recommend you, how you have tested your device, and what is mainly the thing that you validated for that. If they don't follow it, it's usually their problem, I can say. So it's mainly their issue, because you will not be going to each hospital to verify if they are following your instruction. Otherwise, you will spend a lot of time there. But at the end, if there is an incident, you are not liable in that case, because you have instructed to do on that way, and they haven't, and this can be an issue. But the question of I'm not sure, the question of reporting to the authorities, is it your role while there was no issue? Because we report to authorities usually when there is an issue, but here I don't know if there was no issue, if this is a recommended. I don't know for that.
I think if there's Debbie, I think for that, I agree with Munir in terms of the liability to your organization. I think fairly limited, unless you are getting lots of notifications around loads of hospitals doing this differently for some reason, because that would suggest, if they think PMS hat, that would suggest there's something wrong with your reprocessing instructions if all of the hospitals that are given those are doing things differently. And then also it depends how you knew about it as well, in a sense. If you've legitimately grown to know about that through an authentic line of communication, then that changes things as well. I think the main thing would be, if you think there are patients at risk and you have good cause to think that, then you would always, the competent authority of any region in the world will always say you err on the side of caution and you report.
Exactly. If there is also a trend, if there is something that may be really creating a risk, yes.
But I don't think it is your obligation to process based on that information there, if that helps.
Agree. I mean, anyway, sometimes it's better to inform than to just wait. So it's also something like hours protection. But is it an obligation? I'm not sure for that. Second question from Martin. Are you seeing Cyber Essentials Directive requirements being passed down to medical devices? If so, what are the biggest hurdles you've experienced while trying to apply the standards to regulated medical tech? So what is Cyber Essential Directives? You know about
Cyber Essentials is it's very UK, kind of very UK specific type thing. It's typical. So Martin, I suppose really, really quick, the answer is no. I'm not seeing it passed down to medical devices from a device specific perspective. I'm seeing lots of medical device manufacturers implementing Cyber Essentials, because Munir, the way it works is essentially it's like ISO 27001.
Okay.
It's like a
data, etc.
It's like a UK government framework that is kind of basically put in place to try and just improve the overall level of cybersecurity that every organization in the UK has, kind of thing. So but I see organizations implementing it, but Martin, I've not seen it any specific of that filtering down into a device file, because for cybersecurity they would generally use ISO 81001 Part 5, as well as then kind of actual the tools that the directive will call it for penetration testing and stuff like that. But I don't see it being applied in that same sense.
What is written on this Cyber Essential Directive requirements? is it like a good thing to take, maybe a checklist to take to use it on medical devices? Or
I'd say medical device, small to medium medical device manufacturers can benefit from looking at Cyber Essentials.
Okay.
It will. You can, I suppose you can have Cyber Essentials, right, and you can develop a device that has no cybersecurity.
Okay.
Whereas if you develop a device with cybersecurity, 81001, 62304 developed within it, then your device will have a stronger security posture than it will, so from in my view, 62304 and 81001 are stronger, and they are the only thing that we should be considering from a device specific side of things. As an organization, I would always recommend every business to look at 27001 and Cyber Essentials, because if you want to work with the National Health Service, they look for things like Cyber Essentials, because they say, well, if you're going to integrate with us, then we need to have more done.
Okay, oh, it's interesting. I never heard about this one, so interesting.
Yeah.
Next question from Adgazala Shaykh. So, in your experience, what legal and regulatory support do early stage medical device startups most frequently need but often overlooked? Legal experience, what legal and regulatory support? Legal, I don't know. I mean, the support that I see always, I mean, it's the same as usual, so that I see myself. So it's mainly when they discover at the end that they have to be certified, and they discover at the end that they need somebody to help them. And then when they contact this person, they will contact us and ask, have you a DHF? Do you have risk management? Do you have user needs? Do you have... I mean, we start to make our list, and at the end, no, we have none of those. And then the struggle is there.
Yeah.
You have to come back, history of 2 years of the company, to create again everything. I think you have this situation with one of your clients.
It goes to a conversation you and I were having, Munir. So yes. I'd say I'm also going to take from our conversation that we had earlier on that, and I'm going to Ghazala, I think one of the main area that I'm in the last year or two that I have really seen is, Munir, we were speaking about this earlier, is technical files and devices appearing out of thin air, and there is no design projects to do so. So this is something that I think we really need to get a handle on in this industry, to be honest. I think because the startups, what is happening with, in this context with early stage startups, is they come up with a device. There is no formal design and development done, but the device exists.
Exactly.
And it's got indications, and it's got like patient populations and stuff. So to me, my brain is very simple. It's very, very objective, very binary. That without a design control project and user needs, there is no medical device. So I actually think QARA is important, obviously, but I do think getting someone on board early that has a strong regulatory experience, but also a strong product development experience, is the most important thing to have at an early stage. Because if not, you're going to end up developing a medical device that you may not have built it right. You may not have built the right thing. And then also, when you go to a notified body or you get a different person in to look at it, they're going to say, well, where is your design project? And what did you do to test this? And how does this work? So I think product development with someone with a regulatory hat and a product development hat on is the key person that we need for businesses like that.
Yeah, and I suppose also, because here we talk also sometimes about budget, and people are saying, oh yeah, but we don't have the money for hiring that person, etc. So here maybe the advice would be hire this person for 1 hour per month, even for that, just to guide you, to tell you if you are on the right direction or if you miss something. And as soon as you know exactly what is missing, then you have to work with your team to create the things that are missing to move on the right direction. But maybe having just somebody to guide you, a coach, for example, for even 1 hour per month, I think will be sufficient just to help you on moving that way. And you'll see you need more than 1 hour, but mainly if your budget is tight, just that 1 hour can help you to save a lot of time at the end, and can make your project maybe more successful. So it's really something that is important to consider. So design and development, design control is really the black hole or black point or weakness.
It's the key, because it ties into risk management, it ties into validations, it ties into your IFU being developed. It's everything. It is everything. So. Yeah.
Okay, so I hope we answered your question.
Yeah.
Next one is Vladimir that asked, Adam, how do you define an effective audit trail to avoid any kind of bias?
Oh, that's a good question. So, I suppose a lot of this would come from before you even start the audit. I think around the nature of bias. Every audit I do, I need to declare to that, I need to declare to that company, yeah, I don't know anything about you, and I don't know your CEO, and I don't know your management rep, and I didn't go to school.
I have not worked on your documentation. I've never touched anything. I never signed any of those, etc. So
yeah. So I think Vladimir, I think the start of it comes from that, even before you do the audit, is your declaration of your kind of lack of conflict of interest, essentially, and saying you have nothing to do with that company. Or that device, or you don't know anything around it that could change your bias.
I think be careful because sometimes we have internal auditors that are internal to the company. So you cannot say I don't know the CEO and I have no interest. No, about not touching those documents. The documents I will audit, I've never worked on them.
So yeah, in that sense, I suppose that would be covered by the person needs to be independent.
Yeah.
For that, so. A lot of this for me as a professional is am I genuinely independent before taking on that audit? Can I do it or not? From there, then the audit trail side of things should be dealt with by that audit plan. The program that defines what you're going to look at, and obviously your audit schedule. And then in terms of in the audit bias, I think if you do those things beforehand, so you make sure you've got an independent auditor that's independent of the areas being audited. If the audit schedule is risk-based, and you've kind of got the areas that you've been defined to focus on, then I think the risk of bias, I think it is probably as eliminated as it can be by that stage. There's always going to be a thing of, as an auditor, you have a preference of how things need to look or how you want things to look. But that's as a professional, as an auditor, you need to accept that things are not going to be the way you want them to be all the time, but you need to find the conformance, So Vladimir, I'd go back to the statement I read around the opening meetings. With that would be the things we say in the opening meetings are, this is a sample. But the other thing is we say we are assessing for conformity. We are not assessing for non-conformity. So
exactly, yeah.
I'm trying to find that conformity and I'm trying to work with you to show me it. So I'd say the level of bias should be dealt with before the audit. And when you're in an audit, there's always going to be a risk of a type of bias. But if you've got a real issue with bias in your audit, you've probably got a bigger problem than just that audit. What do you think, Liam?
No, I think you're right. I mean, I'd say the most important is that when you arrive to an audit like that is maybe to not have heard about some of the situation of the elements. Just if you arrive with something like, oh, we passed MDSAP audit, everything went well. We passed notified body, everything went well. We had zero findings, etc. You arrive in a way that, I will find nothing in this audit. It's fine. So let's move forward. I mean, I'll make it quickly, just administrative, and just say, I ask a question, you send that to me. It's fine. I will not dig more. But if you try to keep yourself not aware of many there findings or things that can help you also to stay focused and to really dig them. Or if you are a challenger, if I can say, or somebody that's challenging this kind of things, they didn't find that, I will find something.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think on last thing on this, sorry, Vladimir, just on this was the very last thing I think to define that effective audit trail, because I think maybe this question came from one of the points I made about when you have your opening meeting presentation, when the client shows you it and they say, we have this many devices released and we've had no complaints, no audit findings before, everything's fine. So I think with that, then there's an element of, sometimes I feel when I do these audits that when you request files, for example, say you request a device file and they say, oh, but that didn't have anything on it, that's when you need to have a bit of strength and say, well, I know you've not found anything this, but I still want that bit of evidence.
You have to, yeah.
Even if you tell me that it's fine, I still want it.
Exactly.
That's what it needs, and it just needs to be natural for your audit trail.
Exactly. I mean, I'm also telling to some of my clients, use the audit to make some pressure on your management.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you find zero findings, but in the reality you know there are a lot of issues, I mean, you will not have any progress. But if you know there are some issues and they will find them, and you say, yes, put me the non-conformity, yes, put me things, it will help you to maybe move forward also with your management. So there are not. The problem is that it's a human-to-human discussion. So bias will be there anyway for maybe some topics. Just try to be fair, or try to be, but use the audit as a tool to help you instead of using it as a tool to make you think that you are the best, that everything is fine, that your company is the best, etc. So let's make that. Okay, we are arriving to the end, and I have some flash questions that I wanted to ask, and maybe people in the audience can still listen, but I want to hear Adam about that first.
I hate when you do this, man.
I mean, it's the objective, to put you on the spot.
I know, you always do it.
Okay, some question where you should answer yes or no. So let's say no argumentation, just yes or no.
No. So I can't. I cannot say.
Let's see. It's the first time. So let's make a yes or no, and then maybe we see if there is some argumentation needed here.
So I can't say it depends.
No. Yes or
no. Okay.
So the first one I had is Excel still acceptable for Kappa?
Is Excel?
Excel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I'm just going. Yeah. You wanted yes or no, so I'm just going.
Yeah. Should every company have an AI policy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you damage reduce audits?
No.
Okay. Is ISO 13485 enough for AI?
No.
Will notified body reviews become faster?
Optimistically, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to because the one about AI policy, should every company have an AI policy? So can you argument on this one?
Yeah, my take on it is that it's not going anywhere. And I think we said this a few weeks ago. AI right now is as bad as it will ever be today. And it's better today than it was yesterday.
Exactly.
So I think it's maybe something that people will say, oh, Adam says everyone needs an AI policy. Maybe they might say that's a bit too much, but I think why wouldn't you have something like this to have some guardrails around how your organization can use this amazing technology? If you don't, my reason for saying yes to that is because I think if you do not have an AI policy, then you have a lack of understanding on the capability or the risk of AI. And I think by having an AI policy, it shows from the top management that you understand the technology and that you're trying to control it within your business.
Exactly.
So what do you think? Do you think you should have one?
Everywhere? Yeah, I think nowadays the problem is that now everybody is a bit individual on their use of AI. And some people will use it in a certain way, some another way. So maybe we'll share some confidential information to AI to maybe get out of a situation where you are stuck. So here you have to understand that everybody will use AI. But if you are not putting a policy or some warnings to tell them, they will say, you never told us. I never have been informed that I should not do this or should not do that. So I think having an AI policy will be putting some boundaries, what you are allowed to do, because you have to allow things to be done also through AI, and what you are not allowed to do. Also, having this can also make you think maybe you should build your own AI internally so that you can share a lot of data, even private information that then are stored within your company and not outside also. So there are a lot of things to think about that, but I think AI is something that, as we talked about last time also, something that will be growing and growing, and this will become a monster, a beast. So you have to manage this beast or make it controllable. So you have to control it before people are already starting to use it in a bad way. Yes,
I think we've honestly just from the last year, Munir, of my professional kind of life has honestly so much of it has been around this kind of, I feel like I'm fixing people's work that's generated by AI. Exactly. So much so that I done a post on this last week just before I lost connection in the Highlands. Okay. Because the MHRA, I don't know if you've seen this, but the MHRA released a blog on the use of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So that's now, in the last month and a half, FDA and MHRA.
Exactly.
So we are at that point, in my opinion. We are at the point in society already.
And for the last question, will notified body reviews become faster? Were you thinking AI also here? Or?
I was thinking AI being used within it, but then also the actual notified body timelines.
Yeah, true. I forgot about that.
The timelines being held, the now having accountability and pausing, formal pause, I think should, in theory, speed it up. So, and then obviously they will need to use AI and stuff like that to do that. So yeah, I think we should see that sped up.
Okay, so interesting. Yeah, no, I think it's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we arrive at the end of this session. So thank you, Adam. Thank you for everybody that was listening. I saw that we are going from Sao Paulo to India. I don't think I was. So again, for people that want also to be part of our WhatsApp group, so there is a Medtech Open Office QR code that you will see somewhere above Adam. So here. So don't hesitate to go there. You can also ask us questions there directly. We'll try to put some information. Adam will also put maybe some information about what's happening there. So don't hesitate to go. And if you have anything that you want also to bring to this Medtech Open Office, so let us know. We are trying to make it a bit more structured, as you saw. Like first, maybe half of the session will make some news, some information, the myth of the month, etc. And the next half will be more question and answers for you, so that we are making a bit more structured. So we'll try to have some homework to prepare something before the next episode. So we have, I think next episode will be in 2 weeks. It will be it will be the last episode of this season, I think.
Yes.
Because after that, I will be out for holidays also, and then we can maybe restart again in September. So don't hesitate again to share also those episodes with your colleagues. It's on YouTube if you want to see the YouTube channel for Easy Medical Device. It's also on LinkedIn if you want also to get that. So we'll make maybe something a bit more structured around a Medtech Open Office website, a Medtech Open Office LinkedIn, etc. So try to make this kind of thing. But yeah, for the moment we host it within Easy Medical Device, and later it will be maybe also alone with its own thing. Just wanted to make a pilot for this year, so now I think the pilot went well. Everything was fine. I don't think.
It's cool. I think so. I think now just we're obviously doing this on top of everything else.
Exactly.
So I think getting a bit more structure will be nice. I think it'd be nice to eventually maybe have some people on at some point and just have a little bit more. The idea. So that this is kind of super early stage, but thank you for everyone for kind of engaging. It's really weird. It's great. It's great.
Exactly.
So seeing people in Sao Paulo.
Let's have our last episode next week, and then after that we'll deserve some holidays and we'll come back then on September. So thanks everybody. Not next week, in 2 weeks. Sorry, the 23rd of July, and then we'll have some break. Okay, then everybody, thank you very much. Thank you, Adam, and see you soon.
Thank you all. See you later. Ciao.